Community, fitness, and a hefty dose of some Miami heat. Wodapalooza 2022 is in the books. We'll recap the action today on Game Central. Happy New Year, everyone. Tommy Marquez here with the first Game Central episode of the new season, and we're gonna talk Wodapalooza. It just wrapped up this past weekend. I had a chance to be there on site, and what is the 10th iteration of this amazing event. It's just been awesome to see the growth front to back, even in the last 5 years since I've been in attendance. You had an awesome fan experience with the biggest brands, a ton of big name athletes just walking around taking photos, and it's really one of those can't miss type events, especially considering it's in downtown Miami and a beautiful setting overall. But let's get into some results right now, starting with the men in the elite men's division. And it's Pat Vellner, the King of the North, wins his third consecutive Wodapalooza title. He averaged a finish of 5.5 across the weekend, has 2 event wins, and he really still showcased that he can show up to an event as the forerunner and hit one out of the park. Moving over to the women's side of things in the elite division, and it's Emma McQuaid, the representative from Ireland, gets an event win just narrowly over Bethany Shadburne by 9 points. She has continually improved over the last 3 years at the games, and she only had 1 finish outside of the top 10 all weekend long. Switching over to the teams and the elite teams of 3 on the men's side, and it's the boys, a trio of familiar faces, Noah Olson, Travis Mayer, and Chandler Smith. They take down the top spot. They got together, had some fun, and walk away with 25K to boot. Over on the women's side of things, we had a team from Norway, Krieger, in what is Kristin Holta's final competition. She helps 2 women from Norway and her fellow country walk away with a win for the weekend, representing Norway on their chest, a phenomenal battle all weekend long with the crew from Mayfem. And that was one of the highlights in that division, their battle all weekend long, and it was a treat to watch. They were never outside of 5 to 10 points, separated all weekend long, and it was definitely the race to watch. Taking a step back now and looking at the competition as a whole, here are my top 3 takeaways from the weekend. Starting big picture, being there in person amongst the community really kind of solidifies the idea that the sport, the fans, the community, the affiliates, we're gonna be all right. With all the things that have happened in the past couple of years, actually getting in person and seeing people face to face, it's hard to walk away with anything but that. And I think the fan reaction and the people that I got to meet in person really solidifies that for me in my mind. Moving on, number 2, feel good, play good. Kind of a shortened version of what Deion Sanders told us back in the day. You look at the elite teams of 3 and the teams that won. Chandler Smith, Noah Olson, and Travis Mayer, the boys for the men, and then Kristin Holta and the crew from Norway in their women's division. The one common thread amongst all of them for me was that they had fun. They're accomplished individuals, so they're used to the tension and the anxiety that competition brings, but they stepped over to this unique competition format and just let all of that go, and they had a blast and they walked away on top. To me, I think that's an important key for a lot of athletes that maybe lose sight of that. And number 3, the changing of the guard. There were a ton of new athletes that showed up in the elite divisions, not just for the women, not just for the men, but some new names that maybe surprised some people, whether it was Annika Greer winning an event underneath the lights at Flagler, or Phil Toon, Dallin Pepper, some athletes that have kind of been on the peripheral for past years, showing up big on the men's division. I think it really signals the next shift of athletes that are gonna take the torch from some of the established elite in the coming years. I'm gonna intro some other notable athletes from the weekend that I think deserve some attention. The Panchik brothers, all 3 of them competed this weekend. You know, Scott Panchik wanted to compete on a team. His brother said, nah, and you know what? He said, that's fine, I'll just go individual and crush it anyways. All 3 of these men performed admirably. It's great to see the Panchik brothers finishing 1, 2, 3 on the leaderboard in 7th, 8th, and 9th right next to each other. So even in competition, you can't separate these families overall. And on the women's side, my notable athlete has to be Bethany Shadburne. The last time we saw her on the competition floor at the West Coast Classic, she was in peak condition. She absolutely destroyed the field, but we didn't get to see her at the games due to COVID. So this is her return to competition, and I spoke with her coach, Justin Kotler, beforehand. He said this was really just a tune-up, and to walk away with a podium finish and get some hardware in that highly competitive women's field, I think is a big boost to her confidence moving forward in the season. If you guys want to catch a deeper dive into the numbers behind Wodapalooza, be on the lookout for my episode of Inside the Leaderboard. And the Open Registration is live now. You can go sign up, throw your hat in the ring. This is the time for all of us, the community at large, to be competitors. You can sign up now at games.crossfit.com. That's going to do it for this edition of Game Central. I'm Tommy Marquez. We'll see you guys next time.